As a kid, my family and I went up to the Upper Peninsula a lot. I guess the reason for that was because that is where my parents went on their honeymoon. The first memory that triggers when I think about the Upper Peninsula would be about 7 years ago eating Martin's chicken on the side of a road in a parking lot. Which was weird, on account we weren't even in the Upper Peninsula. We were somewhere around the Grand Rapids. When we get to the UP, our number one goal would be to find a campsite to stay at. This would normally take about 5 hours. Why? We didn't make any reservations. My family and I did countless things and many activities on our camping trips. We had unlimited free time, saw many animals, and went off-roading in many trails in our Jeep Cherokee. We also went to many gift shops, picked up things like pocket knives and slingshots. Both we used a lot every day. One sunny afternoon, we were chilling away at our campsite, drinking Kool-Aid, but there was tons of bees in the area. So we went out for a drive, out to lunch. When we got back, hundreds of bees were drowning in our Kool-Aid cups that me and my brothers called bee traps. It was genius. Many times on these drives, we'd go places, either breaking through private properties, traveling through rocky roads, or even find a good sand dune. At the sand dune, we'd drive up until we flipped backwards. This was fun but dangerous, and is why we always buckled up. Just kidding. But we did go up sand dunes and climb them manually. It was a hoot. We'd pick up things like slingshots. Slingshots were tight and awesome, but ammo was really expensive. We asked the worker there where we could find cheaper ammo, and he said there were our iron ore deposit at the train tracks, which have thousands of these little iron ball things. They were perfect size. We picked up a ton of them. My dad said jackpot. We all laughed. We all thought the word jackpot was funny, and I have no idea why. We used pocket knives all the time. Whittling wood, well, that's pretty much all we use them for, but it was still awesome. We saw a lot of bears. Bears are like a mixture of a large dog and a fat furry dragon, or something. We saw them at tiny little parks, and even saw a couple of them just walking around in the woods. There was this restaurant called Timber Charlie's. We went there a lot. They had a huge bear there. It was tough though. I don't remember much about it besides we sat next to the bear and it looked like crazy angry, probably because it got shot. We took this cruise one time on a 37-mile shoreline off the Lake Superior of pure colorful rock. This was called Pictured Rock. It was intense to see this stretch of super tall rocks that reached over 200 feet tall. The massively enormous earthbound structures were quite the sight. One year, we went up to these mountains called the Porcupine Mountains. I don't think at that age I had ever been so high above everything else. It was breathtaking. Just to look out and see the wilderness, and acres beyond acres of trees and forest. A few eagles just cruising in the sky. There were so many eagles, it wasn't even funny. Well, there actually wasn't too many eagles, and it wasn't really funny. But that's the only place I've ever seen bald eagles, so this morning was a sad morning. We were sitting by the fire when this friendly chipmunk kept getting close to us for our food. This chipmunk spooked my brother, so I threw a log at it. It just lay there, shaking and flopping around. My dad was pissed and told my mom, and my mom was flipping out, and told us we had to leave the area. I still watched as my dad took a log to its head. Pretty cool at that age. But I thought my dad was just killing it. But later I learned on that it was to put it out of its misery. Traveling on a trail the same day, my dad was on a mission to find the Lost Lake. We learned about the Lost Lake after reading a sign that said Lost Lake with an arrow on it. So we were off spinning tires and spitting gravel. We followed the signs down narrow trails into old wooden signs painted in blood. Or paint, I don't know. We took a couple wrong turns but ended up in a shack in the middle of the woods. And we took a potty break and my mom and dad heard banjo music from the Deliverance. But it wasn't until hours later that we gave up and called it a day and decided the Lost Lake was lost. One day we didn't leave for the UP until later at night, and we ended up staying at a hotel near the Mackinac Bridge. At night, it got really dark. The light of the bridge was the only thing that stood out over the dark sky and water. It feels like whenever you're up, wherever you are, you have either trees or water around you, and sometimes waterfalls. Waterfalls were sweet and overwhelming, as whenever we went to see one, the cool mist shot out our faces. On our way home, it always seemed like a faster trip than the way there. Once we did get home and turned on all the lights, the feeling was like a sudden jolt back to everyday life. It seemed as if the whole trip was just a dream. The end.
We on stuck, mighty on buck chasers. On ice the price, business couldn't duct tape ya. Domain name is www.thatkrunner.com twice around the block. We inhabit the habit of the rap life. So we got the main lady and the rap wife, who keep us out on the road to a low style that's set to be ahead of the TikTok. But leave me with the same little issue. Hey, how you doing? Sorry that I miss you. Leave your words after the tone while I lay around trying to recover. Acting like I'm too old for this shit like D. Glover. But then right back on the case with Dave and Mace. I earned a place for what I made right. Midnight marauder brawl with these broads, cause in the daylight